Good morning, neighbors. Good morning, neighbors. One more time, just for good luck. Good morning, neighbors. And welcome to the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital. The Richards twins in this morning. We just heard from Paul Richards with our news brief. We'll have another major news happening at 7 o'clock with Avril. We'll hear from Richard Raghubar Singh. We got Ruben in the mix. My name is Steve Khan. We'll keep you company until 9 o'clock this morning. Getting straight into the WT, see what's happening traffic-wise. I got nothing really to tell you. Nothing really to tell you. A little slow going through Chase Village on the Solo. And from Trin City towards Paja Yui, slow going. And then getting to Port of Spain, you got some volume there as well. Weather. What's the weather going to be like for today? I tell you, came in with some drizzle in this morning, drizzling in some parts of the country. They said it's going to be very cloudy and windy morning with a few lingering showers and the low to medium, which is 30 to 40% chance of heavier showers or thunderstorms. Improvement is expected late afternoon, despite the isolated shower. Gusty winds in excess of 60 kilometers an hour, and street and flooding are likely near heavy downpours. Adverse weather alert yellow has been issued. All right. I think that goes until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Check in some temps across all listenership. Let's head across to Toronto. It's sunny and 18. Miami, you're 27 and cloudy. Orlando, 25. New York, 23. Atlanta, 22 and cloudy. London, 17 and cloudy. Tampa, 26. And Washington, D.C., you're sitting at 22. All right, that's weather, the WTs, as I call it. And let's see who sent us hellos first thing this morning. Today is Tuesday. Right, there we go. Oliver Man Warren, you're first off the gate this morning. Rampage, good morning to you. Trevor Rima, good morning. Wayne out in Simcoe, Ontario, Canada, good morning. Cillian, Valencia. How's Valencia this morning? G Holdings. Good morning to you. Oliver Man Warren again. Miss Ingrid in Tucson, Arizona. Maria Marva. Good morning. Chris Toussaint. Happy 4th of July. That's right. Happy 4th of July to all the American citizens globally. Rena Buddha Jennings. Good morning. Carol Guevara. Marcia Rock watching us on YouTube. Good morning. Kazim Mohammed. And Brenda Isaac in Santa Cruz. Good morning to you. How is Santa Cruz this morning? I understand it's got a little drizzle here and there. And let's say good morning, good night to Paul Richards. Morning, pal.
Good morning, Steve. Morning, everyone. Good morning to the parents and the children who got their results yesterday, and congratulations to you. You worked hard and you got your great results, so congratulations. You should be celebrating. And to the education ministry, congratulations. There was a significant improvement, which I'm really happy for. Still some ways to work to go, but I mean, that level of improvement must be commended. So congratulations to Minister Gasby Dolly and her team, and all the teachers, administrators, and parents, and everyone who would have worked hard to ensure that we are improving compared to particularly last year.
Yeah, during the pandemic, yes. So that's good news. So congrats all students, all of you. Congratulations to you guys. And yeah,
they did well. I mean, we improved. I mean, we still have a long way to go. I mean, 11,000 children passed, which means just over 7,000 didn't pass, which is a lot of children to not pass, but it's heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
And 400 scored over 90%. That should be in the range of over 2,000. Because it's not our kids are incapable of doing that. They just need the correct support. So 2,500 scored below 30%, which is of grave concern. I keep talking about this 2,500 falling through the cracks every year. And that is where we need to place, to me, most of our attention. Those who didn't pass, continue to support those who passed, but really make some interventions into those who did not pass.
Yeah. I passed by a couple of schools yesterday and saw some parents in some of them. I see our very own Crystal Sinclair. Her son passed for, was that school that Richard went to?
St. Mary's. Good for him. Congratulations.
That's it, St. Mary's. So
he will do well in spite of that.
Yeah. I mean, both the children went to CIC.
Excellent, good for her. That's the hard work that the parent puts in.
Yeah, that is the hard work, and of course,
Yeah, because the first son just cape or something, so it's in Mary. That's so.
yeah,
What's the
I
second?
think yeah, exactly, something like that.
Congratulations, Krista. Great stuff. I think Mahalia's daughter also wrote SCA, if I'm not mistaken. So
Oh, really?
congratulations to them all. Yep. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been a parent, you know. It's
I know.
also.
I know.
Remember the day Avril's daughter wrote and said about your child is going to do well. Zahara is very, very bright.
I keep
And
telling Zahara if anything is
Avril
wrong,
could not
to
even
blink.
walk into this school to get the results. She had to stay in the car and wait.
I can picture that.
And because she was so wound up, and the daughter passed for her first choice.
Yeah,
she's doing very well.
doing very well.
It's extremely brilliant.
Yeah, I'm doing
So
very.
congratulations to all the students and the parents beginning this new phase in their lives, you know.
Can't forget the teachers, Paul. Can't forget the
And I
teachers.
said teachers and administrators earlier, and Minister Gatsby Dolly and her team. I'm happy that it's heading in the right direction. We still have quite a bit of work to do. But 11 from 18 is 7. Well, just over 6,000 students. We still have some work to do. And particularly the 2,500 who rank below 30%. You know, what are we going to do about them? What are we going to, what kinds of support are we going to provide for them? So, but I mean, it's good news. I mean, not rain on anybody's parade. It is good news, and we're heading in the right direction. I went to Hyatt yesterday.
Hyatt was busy, I'm sure.
I forget how these things are. If I'd remembered how these things are, I would not have gone, but I was asked to do an interview on TTT, so I went early. Thank God I went early. Because if I didn't go early, I would just, and if I pulled up there about 3:30, I would have turned back.
Yeah, when I was leaving Port of Spain, it was a mess.
Yeah, because the some areas were locked off. And then this afternoon, if you don't have to pass by Memorial Park, particularly the street between Napa and Memorial Park, what street is that? Is that Frederick, the upper end of Frederick Street?
Top end of Frederick, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have to pass around there, don't go.
What's the plans for Memorial Park this afternoon?
Yeah. Congratulations to Mr. Lennox Toussaint. He's launching his book about his life today, An Unlikely Success, it's called. Yeah. So congrats, Len.
I should call
Very
him.
Eager to read that book. He's launching it this evening in the same area.
Oh, yeah. He's at Queen's Park, Savannah.
Yeah. So
it was started last week, but due to the weather, it was postponed until this Tuesday.
Yeah. But it was also supposed to be at Napa, but then they grabbed Napa from him too.
Yeah, they pulled the rug out of that one.
So he's at the Savannah. Congrats, Len. So I will be there this afternoon, God willing, at your book launch. And then they have this Ministry of Social Development and Government concert at Napa for CARICOM's 50th anniversary. So yeah, so I went to Hyatt yesterday, and oh my God, well, when I got there, we were on the second floor. And then they cleared the second floor for all the security sweeps. And then they let you back in, and then, whew, it was a lot. Because the entrance to Hyatt is so limited. You know, I don't think they contemplated having these size of conferences there, although the halls can't hold that many people. And very often they have more than one conference happening at Hyatt. But when you have, is it 16 or 15 heads and secretaries of CARICOM, secretary generals of CARICOM, the security is on full. So you find that, oh my God, it's almost like Secret Service everywhere and dogs walking around.
Yeah.
I went and I actually left a bit early because I was overwhelmed. So I just said, you know, I need to leave before this drama.
And then they get out, I'm sure it was a drama. Where did you park?
Yeah, that's why I left a little early because I didn't want to face the traffic leaving and all of that.
Yeah.
And then I came home and tried to go for my evening walk, and it started to rain. So so I had to chill out. Morning, Drago Bassing.
Morning, guys.
Morning, Richie Rich. What's shaking?
Yeah, nothing really.
Is it
The morning
drizzling up
was-
on your end?
What's that?
Is it drizzling up on your end?
On and off.
Yeah.
Your volume is a bit soft this morning, Richard, for some reason. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, may I offer an invitation to you to host our second debate? I was supposed to call it yesterday,
Oh, jeez.
but the day ran away from me.
What is that? Next week, you mean?
No, it's in 2 weeks.
I'll think
It'll
about
be morning show time, so
trying to see how I can fix my volume. I mean, I'll think about it. I don't necessarily have a problem.
there wasn't any invitation you could decline, you know.
Of course I can. There's nothing in
No,
this world
okay.
I can't decline.
Okay.
Nothing.
I'm not saying a word with that. I was going to say something. I decided not to. I'll be nice today. I'll start
Yep.
today. But I
So,
still want to say it.
Are we carrying Roland Bridgerton as the new
50th
lead?
Of course, I can decline that. The 50th anniversary celebrations of well, it was at Hyatt yesterday. I thought it was going to be at Napa for some reason in my mind.
No, it's Napa today.
Oh, today is Napa.
They have a big concert at Napa today and a reception. That's probably where Napa jumped into your head.
Oh, okay. For the next couple of days, it's in Napa, right?
So, well, they remember it's the 45th meeting of CARICOM heads one. So there are meetings in the various CARICOM, I won't say divisions, but like security, education, they all have their breakout meetings. But the big stuff, you know, they usually have entertainment for the heads, particularly in Trinidad and Tobago, because we really intertwine everything with entertainment because that's part of our culture. So in the evenings, they have these, these entertainment spectacles for them. I know the American Secretary of State is supposed to go to a paniad, because some of the media have been invited to cover it. They didn't tell us which paniad yet, but for security reasons, of course, you know, and taking the delegates to paniads and various cultural sites and stuff, and the culinary delights of Trinidad and Tobago and the normal thing. You know, so while they work in the day, they have entertainment for them in the evening and stuff. So, and it's third, fourth, fifth, and then they're all gone. So,
And
I am glad that finally a lot of emphasis is being placed at this particular conference because they have a special committee. They convened a special committee last year on interventions for Haiti, which I found CARICOM really slept on over the last decade and a half. And I think if CARICOM had intervened sooner in Haiti, or provided a support because it is a sovereign state, even though they have real problems. I think what we're seeing in Haiti today, with the total collapse socially, economically, and politically in many cases, that we would not have had the debacle that we have now in Haiti, with gangs running crazy in a most vicious manner. So I'm glad CARICOM is finally being a lot more assertive where Haiti is concerned. My understanding is that they have to, because
but are they? I mean, talking about it and doing is two different things.
Well, the fact that they put together a special high-powered committee to find solutions or intervention methods, because it's a diplomatic tightrope, you know. Unless Haiti asks for help, you can't just move in and help, you know. But Haiti has been asking for aid, not necessarily. I haven't heard, maybe it has, support for the state, because very often, look what happened, is it last year or year before, when the assassination took place of the president, and the armed militia and gangs stormed the palace and they held some people, but the gangs have proliferated, and just like in Venezuela, like I said in Venezuela, when a country starts collapsing and people start fleeing because the economic pressures make it difficult to live there for many different reasons, no medicine, no food, etc. The breakdown of law and order. It is not only the law-abiding people who leave. The gangs and the criminals also flee to other jurisdictions and ply their trade. So it becomes existential threats to other jurisdictions close by, and Miami and Florida ain't too far from Haiti and the other Caribbean islands or the Caribbean islands. So if you don't help contain it in that jurisdiction, it spreads, and the region already has a high crime issue. So, I mean, it's not even only philanthropic at this point. Is in large measure also some level of self-preservation and protection. Because they ain't going to stay there and just steal in a place that is so impoverished. You know? But we started with the good news this morning.
What, SEA results?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was good. They're heading in the right direction. The improvement is clear. And the minister did say, yes, heading back into the classroom would have made a significant difference. So 11,000 passed out of 18,000 something, which means we still have a lot of work to do, although we need to celebrate the improvement and those who did well and passed for their choices. I mean, Steve was saying this morning, Krista's son, our colleague Krista's son, passed for St. Mary's, and he will do well in spite of that.
Yeah, you will.
So we've been around so long, our backs are broad. Because we are one of the oldest educational institutions.
Yeah, but you can see from you that it's oldest. Yeah.
In the Caribbean, so that that you will be the subject of silly comments by people from lesser old schools. It's understandable.
We should check the scorecard at this point of who's doing better.
It's understandable.
So, anyway, congratulations to all of the young people and their parents and guardians, and the teachers and administrators and supervisors, and the education minister and the ministry and their team. We are heading in the right direction, and I think we need to celebrate that.
Yeah,
really happy to hear that.
What was nice last night on news, at least at the part that I saw, was the issue of they were showing clips of different children getting results for the first time now. Because obviously parents were taping, or whoever was taping children as they read results. Of course, parents have probably checked it before.
Yeah, I wish I could share some, but I mean, there's so many I posted to TikTok, but I really will not share the images of children or videos without the parents' consent. But there were really some really wonderful ones. Of course, the ministry portal crashed at Gregory was trying to get on at noon.
Yeah, I'm trying to get on at 12.
We didn't expect 18,000 people trying to log on. Go figure. I mean, you had to expect at least 10,000 trying to log on at noon, not so?
Yes.
Because it's an eager to go. Oh, come on. IT, come on. Come on, IT.
I know some parents are probably trying to log on from the morning time. Maybe I'll get in. But
but you have to have the capacity for that, because people eager, you work hard. It's 5 years of hard work and sacrifice in primary school, and it's a big time for us still in this country for SDA results. So you have to expect that,
Yep, absolutely.
So, but congratulations to everyone. So those are the two big stories yesterday. Why is this camera just decide to go down just like that in the snow? All right, it's on auto, that's why. It's on scan. All right. So congratulations, kids, Well done, parents and children and parents. Right, I've got it back organized now. What else is happening? CARICOM is the next big thing. And I love her commentary yesterday about that football match. Whew. Social media was bitter.
Yeah.
Social media was bitter.
I did see a story about Angus saying that he will not go back as coach or something like that.
He did say that?
Something like that. I think, didn't he tell the players that? I think I read some story where he said that. Where he told the players, he'll make way for somebody else or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I know the conversation yesterday when somebody called, they talked about the players being at fault and XYZ. But in football, that's not how they look at it. They look at
but they analyze every part of it. Yeah.
Whatever result aligns to the coach.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how it looks. That's how it's
but
done.
the commentary from our callers and audience yesterday was valid too, because I think this has been a problem for a long while. And yes, it's also a problem in other jurisdictions, but they don't get time to gel as a team. They just don't. When you have internationally based players playing in 2 days before, 3 days before, and it's just not enough time to gel as a team, in my opinion. I mean, I ain't no football expert, but
I know that's an age-old. To me, that's an age-old excuse. So that's not a new excuse that people bring up. So I don't know how much it is that.
Well, I have heard football experts say it, and I ain't a football expert, so I'll take their word for it.
Yeah, but that is not a new excuse. Yeah, not excuse long time.
Well, using the word excuse makes it sound like
it's an excuse because it's only when we lose dramatically those things crop up.
And when have we won convincingly?
We were winning the first two matches in the Gold Cup. Nobody talked about the gelling of any team.
Well, maybe they could have done better if they were gel more. You don't know.
No, the first two matches we won outright, and we kept Mexico to a goalless draw.
Yeah, Mexico is a big team.
Yeah.
Nobody talk about gelling of team at that point. So it's always to me, it's an excuse that comes up.
True. I can see your point. I can see your point. You know, I want to put up this video because I mean, there's a long video, a long shot video. Come on, thing. Could you load? Well, it's taking its time to load this morning.
It probably needs coffee.
A video of a robbery in St. Augustine
yesterday.
And I mean, sometimes you know, always in
that video, and I don't know. It's one of those videos that just irritates you.
Yeah.
You know,
but I'm hoping somebody recognizes the miscreant.
Of the miscreant of the crime situation. It just frustrates you, and the unfairness of it all. And what was that being filmed? Was that somebody filming it actually, or was that from
the apartment buildings high up on that road in St. Augustine? So clearly somebody was high up on seeing and pull out their phone because they saw the weird movement of the person walking up on the woman, which you'll see in a short while, and him grabbing her purse. But she brave to go behind him because he could have had that knife or something. Right? So check this out. And of course, he accosts her. But it's almost, she's so calm to her. Don't you find?
You know, and I'm sure somebody must know who that guy is, because obviously
even by his shape and his gait and his walk, you might need to see his face, but
they could tell.
You could recognize somebody by the way they walk, by the body shape and stuff like that. And that's why I play it again so people can see and recognize this miscreant and report him to the police. Your life waiting for people and robbing them. That's your life? That's your life?
And we will hear nothing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But she's a very brave woman. But the interesting thing is that things like
things like that, that if the TTPS can solve it quickly, you broadcast it.
Yeah.
And
put them up on trend. This is the man who robbed her.
Yeah, it builds confidence.
And they keep missing these opportunities. But there's a car that pulled alongside, and the car didn't even stop to offer assistance.
That's shocking.
I guess it may have been a female driver and fearing for their lives or safety also, because you don't know if he has a gun or a knife or something. Me, I might have bounced him down and get in trouble.
Probably do the same.
But I get in trouble for a good reason. You know, and I just find it's disgusting, and that you stand up there and waiting for a woman to pass the rubber. It's just highly disgusting. Anyway, let's go into the newspapers this morning. You have papers, Raghubar Singh?
Yes, I do. So I can start with I can start with the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. And the main headline is CARICOM Summit Opens. That's the main headline on the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian this morning. Leaders appeal for support for Haiti and better air transportation, even though I saw that Carl introduced some new flights, not so?
Yeah.
For the Caribbean. So you had Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley shares a light moment with UN Secretary General and other CARICOM leaders during the official launch. That's the main picture. The other main picture is SEA Joy. So Cedar Grove Private School pupil Giovanni Awardee reacts to his SEA results. So it's everybody's all smiles. And there were so many little videos of that last night. It ready to bring a smile to your face. The unbridled joy of all of these students. On the back page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian today, Heart tipped to replace Eve. So you see, I told you that there was some sort of discussion going on. So Heart tipped to replace Steve. I'm not too sure.
That could be a question this morning. Do you think Angus Eve should be replaced as coach?
Yeah, that could be the poll.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's a picture from the match where the USA drubbed 6-0. So that's from the back page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian today. Moving on to the Daily Express, and the Daily Express today, which is seems a little fat. Let us celebrate. That's the headline. CARICOM leaders look towards next 50 years. Let us celebrate. And then full essay results inside. And so you're seeing well done. That's one of the subheadlines. And a mother is embracing her daughter. Nelson Street Girls RC Primary School pupil Dilian Irving is hugged by her mother. And the main picture is, what is this? Main picture here. Members of the Caribbean School of Dancing welcome guests to the opening ceremony of the 45th CARICOM Heads of Government meeting. And it is a wraparound actually on the Express this morning.
Yeah, and they make some money.
Yeah, with pictures of the CARICOM Heads of Government and the 50th celebration. So you have Mangal Patasa, you have, different snapshots. You have the Prime Minister of Barbados, etc. So it's a wraparound of the events at the Hyatt yesterday. So that's the Daily Express. And the Newsday, of course, their headline, CARICOM must help Haiti is the headline that the Newsday went with. UN Secretary General calls for action as crises worsen. CARICOM must help Haiti. That's the headline.
It's so sad that we're only now activating and realizing the urgency of Haiti. Haiti's gone through so much over the last decade and a half.
The main picture is that of Gandhi Memorial Vedic Primary School SAA student Vaika Mahabal, I think this is Haika. Am I reading this right? Mahabal. And of course, he is kissed by her father and her mom, and they're embracing her, and she has a smile on her face. So she obviously got good results. So that's the front page of the Newsday. And on the back page, Eve defends six-man change in must-win USA match. Players need exposure. That's the headline. On the back page of the Newsday, TT men's hockey team chase CSC Games podium spot. And that's it for the three dailies this morning, on the front and the back.
Or we can say, do you think a new coach will make a difference? But you prefer the Angus Eve question or the new coach question?
No, well, the Angus Eve question.
All right. Well,
yeah. All right. Well, let me give the results from poll from yesterday. Yesterday, we asked you, do you believe that persons are being paid to cross the floor to other political parties? That was our poll yesterday. Give you the results right after I tell you that Enjoy Furniture Plus 4th of July massive mattress sale. Get 33 1/3% off all Serta and Sealy mattresses, with prices starting from as low as $937. July 4th, 1 day only. Check press and social media for details. All happening at Furniture Plus. Come on to all those at Furniture Plus. Right. So do you believe the persons are being paid to cross the floor to other political parties? 56%. 56 said no.
Could you play the promo if you can, sir?
Yeah. I got to get to that shortly. All right. So let's get into our morning poll.
All right. Our morning poll this morning, based on the fact that we lost to the USA on Sunday 6-1, and we lost to Jamaica, I think, the week before. So we're out of the CONCACAF. Is it Gold Cup?
Yep, the Gold Cup. Yep.
The CONCACAF Gold Cup. Do you think Angus Eve should be replaced as head coach of the national senior football team? Do you think Angus Eve should be replaced as head coach of the national senior football team? Yes or no? 222-TALK, 222-8255, 612-8255. Toll free if you are in North America, 866-525-1099.
Yeah, of course, you can send us a message via our mobile app and website, and of course on YouTube. All right, you can send us a message. Good morning to Edwin Marshall. Another rainy day, a dandy. Good morning to you. So, do you know if it is a domestic dispute or something? We maybe be too quick to judge.
And if it's a domestic dispute, we should intervene.
Robbery. Anthony Tinto, good morning from Toronto.
Because he took a bag.
Really, a dandy? Really?
He took a bag. Of course, it's a robbery.
It's a robbery, okay? Really? And even if they are in some sort of relationship, he took her bag forcibly. Is a robbery.
Yes.
What kind of logic is that? Did she willingly give up the bag?
No.
Even if they married,
and that's what some of those.
He took her bag forcibly.
Sorry, Steve, to interrupt and go on this side discussion. But there's sometimes the robbers do that. Sometimes thieves do that. Argue with you and pretend that they know you somehow and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what they do.
They do that. That's a modus operandi.
A dandy, really. Anyway, our question this morning, do you think Angus Eve should be replaced as the head coach for the national senior football team? Yes or no? The lines are open and you can send your messages. Of course, we have to reevaluate our football fortunes at this time.
Yeah. Good morning, Carol Guevara. Paul, I said the same thing. The miscreant who robbed the woman, I would have knocked his hee-haw down. Okay. Brenda Isaac, good morning. Ms. Maloney, good morning. Marcia Rock says yes to the poll. Good morning, DJ Ray out in Tampa, GNC Auto Security, Sankofa, Rena Boodoo Jennings, the robbery. Rena is saying that Superintendent Alexander said the robbery took place on Gordon Street in St. Augustine. Oh, okay. Good morning, Shamin in Arima.
Gordon Street is a long street.
That's a long street.
I know Gordon Street well because it's the street I head up to Hewarding.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We know in Ontario, Canada says no. Vancouver said I had to call 999 and got no response. The line was busy. Okay. GNC Auto Security says yes.
I see Steve tried hard to get on the Angus Eve yesterday, but he didn't.
I did.
So our poll this morning.
Send him a message already.
Do you think Angus Eve should be replaced as head coach of the national senior football team? That's our poll this morning. What says you? What's your opinion? 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans, you can also weigh in absolutely toll-free at 866-525-1099. People on the web and the app, of course, you can also vote via the messaging portal on those platforms. People in other parts of the planet, 1-868-222-TALK, 222-8255. Do you think Angus Eve should be replaced as head coach of the national senior football team? What's your take? Yes or no?
Miss Ingrid in Tucson, Arizona. Good morning, Miss Ingrid. Says yes. Big Guy says he should have been replaced since yesterday. So I guess
Jeez.
Vaughn Drayton says yes. Thank you, Vaughn. Yeah. So give us a call. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. Do you think Angus Eve should be replaced as head coach of the national senior football team? Junior, good morning, guys. No to the poll. And Richard, it is right. These criminal elements play they are in a relationship to rob these women. Lorna, good morning, Lorna. Good morning, Indy, and a special good morning to Carly. Lorna says yes. Money Maker also says yes. Let's see. Alistair Hart. Good morning, guys. Yes. Thank you, Alistair. GB.
Do you think Mr. Eve should be replaced as the national senior men's football team coach? Yay or nay? Yes or no?
Yep, that's our poll this morning.
CJ out in New York says yes. Have a great day. GB says yes to the poll. Thank you, GB. Thank you so much. Yeah, so give us a call. Tell us what you think. You know, we've had Angus Eve on this program so many times. I sent him another message. Let's hope he replies or he's up. Should Angus Eve be replaced as head coach of the national senior football team? They got a wallop on Sunday evening. 6 goals in their tail.
Yep, they did, unfortunately.
Did we not play St. Kitts too at one point?
Yeah, I think we beat St. Kitts. Those were the first two matches, St. Kitts and Mexico, I think.
Right.
People can correct me if I'm wrong.
When there's a football expert.
Yeah. And cricket expert. All right, let's see. Any more votes coming through here? Should Angus Eve be replaced?
I'm going to play back a little video of the match, highlights of the match in a short while it's loading now. So that people can get a sense of where we went wrong and where we went wrong.
So do you think Angus Eve should be replaced as head coach of the national senior football team? That's our poll this morning. 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. People on the web and app, well, you know what to do. Vote on the messaging platform there by saying yes or no. Of course, if you're on YouTube, you can also vote in the comment section. And people in other parts of the planet, if you wish to call in, you'll have to ring 1-868-222-TALK, 222-8255.
It's interesting that Hart, the name Hart, is being bumbled around again as a potential head coach.
All right, let's grab this call. Good morning.
Morning, this big guy. Let me correct Richard. We beat St. Kitts 3-0. Jamaica beat us 4-1 or 4-0 or something like that. And the rest is history, 6-0. All right? No, St. Kitts, Jamaica, and USA. That's what that is 3 teams.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, big guy. Good morning. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, morning, Raguba Singh, Paul Richards, you can.
Mr. Patrick, what's going on?
I did. Here, listen. It's not the coach had to be replaced, you know. It's the whole team. When you bumped up team like Jamaica and USA, you had to run with a certain aggression. Jamaica and USA, them is teams that have aggression. Them come out to fight war and win match. And them boys, I don't know what they go on the field and do. Not the coach. The coach don't win goals. A coach could only direct the thing. But if you have a passion for a footballer as a footballer, you're running 6 goals, not 2 goals, 6 goals. Come to the team give up. All right, God, yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. You should have voted. All right. DJ Ray says yes. Thank you, DJ Ray. Of course, in our background, you'll see the highlights of the USA game on YouTube, that is.
What was that vote you just gave there, Steve?
Well, Mr. Patrick didn't vote.
No, DJ Ray.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
1.
No, it's a simple goal too, eh?
Where they decimated the defense.
Yeah.
So do you think that Angus Eve should be replaced as the head coach for the national senior men's football team? 2.
No, that's the same goal.
Yes or no? Do you think it'll make a difference to our fortunes? Do you think it's a coaching issue? Do you think it's a player issue? Do you think it's a coaching and player issue? Do you think it's a technical support issue? Do you think it's a bigger issue than that?
Well, no, actually, those are not all the questions you want answered. We just want you
to
know
they're not. I'm just...
whether Angus Eve should be replaced. Yes or no? You're going to have a battery of questions.
Well, I'm just widening the conversation for those who would like to call. You know, they could say yes, but they could say, or they could say no and say why they think no. You know, we have a little more time now that we reformatted a bit. You can give a reason why quickly, you know. There you go. More goals. Goals like rain. 6 goals is plenty, you know. 6 goals mean that you had no defense at all. You understand?
Well, yeah, I know something.
It means they're running through you like nothing. I think one person scored a hat-trick in the first half.
Penalty shot. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, this big guy again. Can I make a quick comment, or this just the poll alone?
Yeah, quick comment. Go ahead.
Quick comment. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, Mr. Patrick is correct. If you look at Jamaica and USA, they play with a matter of urgency, pure urgency. Trinidad has 3 major faults. They do not mark the other guys. They wait for the ball to come to them. They play very, very laid back, and there's no urgency in the game. No urgency, and you know that's how they play. But if you look at Jamaica and America, they are very aggressive. As you get the ball, they attack you immediately. Trinidad, we wait for the ball to come to us. We do not mark the other guys, and so the team needs discipline to learn how to play. But the coach has to teach them that, and they have to have discipline to follow what the coach says. And the way he was getting on, like they weren't following what he was saying, you know. But the team needs to I've seen the Trinidad. Oh, this is the other thing they do also. They also play individual football. That's a long time thing. Trying to beat man all and that's a long time thing. You know that you pass off the ball as fast as possible. That's just like 3 big mistakes. Individual ball, laid back, and there's no urgency. You know, and they don't mark the other guys. That's what I saw on Sunday. That's my take on it, gentlemen.
All right. Thanks, big guy. Good morning, caller. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
My answer is no. I think over the years, the coaches one set of players, and then when time for the game, these foreign-based players come in. So I don't think that makes sense. I think that is the problem.
All right. Thank you, caller. It was not West Indies cricket. There's T&D football. I don't know. All right. So
I know what the problem is. You know what they say after when you win a match, everybody like you. When you lose the match, everybody's a football technical expert.
Yeah. Morgan says, good morning, gentlemen. Yes to the poll and top of the morning to Evie and Ruben. Thank you so much. Wendy Ann says, okay. Lorna.
222-TALK, 222-825-612-8255. Toll free 866-525-1099. So we're out of the runnings for the Gold Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And now I guess we have to rebuild from scratch. Does that mean we're also out of the runnings for the World Cup? I don't know. I'm asking a question.
No.
It's two different paths.
Yeah, it's two different things.
Yeah. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Steve, Richard, and Paul.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, the answer is no, and I totally agree with Guy Small concerning the footballers were playing individual football, and that is the same thing in cricket. And in cricket, you could have seen from the last 5 games or whatever, they don't like Alzarri Joseph, and that is why when they were able to catch the ball, they dropped it. Right? They play those cricketers. They play individual cricket. You understand? Just like the footballers. In other words, look at the rest of the team. Look at the cricket. The cricketers on the field were gelling together, plus the cricketers that were batting, looking in the stands for directions from those people who are in charge, right? Their coaches and so on. That did not happen in West Indies. West Indies was a total failure. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you.
In her voice, but a total failure. Not one total. Total.
Good morning, caller.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I want to bring a slightly different perspective to some of the analysis. I always like to ask people the question, why is it that Trinidad and Tobago does not have a player in any of the major leagues across Europe, which is a common thing for many countries. And the answer to that question is really the problem in our football, in the sense that apart from Dwight York and this Jones fellow who was coaching the women's team, yeah, we have not created any other players playing in the top leagues, Even though we hear us talking about this Garcia fella, he's been in Greece. Greece is closer to number 10 in the quality of the leagues in Europe than to number 1, which is the Premier League. So that we don't have the quality of players. That's a fact. Now, I like Mr. Harte, and he will use what we have better than anybody I have seen in the last decade. So I would welcome his return. I was a bit disappointed in his defensive setup. But even if he had set us up good, we have limited players. I don't use as an excuse the fact that Jamaica might be able to use people who grandparents might have migrated to Europe. That to me is a kind of excuse, because we know that we have to be able to start to look at our young people, 9 years old. Have a little coaching experience, nothing much, but the thing is, and the quality of our coaches poor. I'll go by different fields and look at them coaching and say, but look how these fellas growing up, and I can't teach them it, But when I compare what let's say a 9-year-old is exposed to in Europe or North America, and what a 9-year-old doing down here, it's a waste of time. By the time
you think it's a developmental issue also?
Yeah, that's the point I'm making. And it's seriously so. Even when we talk about Russell Atipi and say, well, he was good, he was a star. He was what I would call, for a top class club, he would be a squad player. The only player who really reached the level of players that we have to actually make an impact consistently is Dwight York. How he turned out in Trinidad, so I really don't know. Probably a lot of his own individual, development of his craft, his skill, because we don't have crafty players. When you put 11 Trinidad and Tobago players on a team, like when I looking at Trinidad and Tobago playing the United States the other night, I could see the struggle in keeping possession of the ball in. And then I look at Jamaica, and even though they're having some difficulty because they have 3 Premier League, not top class Premier League players, what you call squad players who would generally get a run, but plenty time they might be on the bench. They're not a star consistently, like say how York was. We need those kind of players, and to get them, they have to start from young. When I look at 11 Trinidad players, we clumsy. Jamaica had 3 Premier League players playing there. One from Fulham, one from Everton, and one from West Ham. And you could see when they get the ball, the whole composure, they're in a different zone to everybody around them. So they could help to bring along their other colleagues a little bit, and therefore the level could raise a bit. But and I'm a real football fan and football lover, and kind of somebody who study the game a lot, and that is our deficiency. Until we start to see players when the ball come to the chest, it could hit the chest and go to the ground. There's a difference if it could hit your chest and go to the ground, and if it could hit your chest and go up in the air, because it's still in the air and it still had to come down to the ground by your foot. And you'll see players from other countries able to do that consistently and easily, and you'll see us struggling with a lot of old-fashioned techniques and things. And at this point, too, as a leaving, you could apply that same thing to cricket, because cricket changed. Cricket changed over the last couple of decades, and we stay saying the same thing. And the structure of cricket with the IPL, a lot of our players who have not actually developed might get an opportunity in the IPL and make some money. So you find we kind of, our younger players tending towards that, hey, we could go IPL. But if you look at cricket, you will see that the top 6 or 7 countries, the reason why they're the top 6 or 7 is because they are also the top 6 or 7 test playing countries. Because that in the test arena is where you learn your craft, there for hours.
I've heard many say so, and those who do not go through that experience suffer. They might have short-term gains, but in the long term, they're not able to have the skill set to survive.
Puran and all might start to get difficulty in getting a contract because they're not up to the quality that the New Zealanders producing, the Englishmen, because they're playing test cricket seriously. And because of the hours they're sending out there, test cricket is 5 days. They craft really good. They know how to teeth a single. They know when to go into her top gear. They know when to leave a ball, But when you play for 4 overs, you go out and bat and swing your bat for 4 overs. You might make 35 and 20 balls, and they might say a brisk 35 and 20 balls by so-and-so. But in terms of your batting craft, Rohit Sharma or no Cooley or no.
All right, buddy. Sorry to interrupt you, but we have some more calls lining up.
Yeah, brother. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
As you said, cricket, the West Indies will face England in 3 tests in July 2024. First match being in Lords.
So our question this morning, do you think Angus Eve should be replaced as head coach of the national senior football team, the Soca Warriors, who got a 6-0 trouncing? Nobody could have scored one.
Yeah. Carol Guevara says no.
From the USA on Sunday, meaning we're out of the Gold Cup. That must be very demoralizing for the players too.
Of course it is.
Yep.
Extremely demoralizing for the players and the coach, and the country at large. But I mean, for the players themselves who had to endure it on the field of play, I could just imagine how difficult that was for them.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to take my quick break. When we come back, we'll have AV in a hot seat with our major news till 7 o'clock.
Local government elections 2023 is on Monday, 14th August. What are the issues affecting you and your community? What level of representation are you demanding? What will determine who you vote for? Power 102 Digital presents the Local Government Digital Debate Series 2023. 3 debates covering the issues affecting you: crime and national security, finance and investment, human development, and local government reform. Power 102 Digital Local Government Digital Debates 2023. The first debate this Wednesday, 5th July, 7 to 9 a.m. with Gary Griffith of the National Transformation Alliance, David Abdullah of the Movement for Social Justice, Timothy Hammett-Smith of Hope, and Felicia Holder of the PP. Wednesday, 5th July, 7 to 9 a.m. only on www.power102fm.com and on the Power 102 Digital app. Download now and streaming on YouTube and Facebook channels live. Power 102 Local Government Election Digital Debate Series 2023 this Wednesday, 7 to 9 a.m. Power 102 Digital, empowering you.
All right, so that's on tomorrow morning, right here on Power 102 Digital. Make sure and tune in to power102fm.com, whatever smart device you have, and of course on YouTube. You'll stream it commencing. Well, we stream commencing at 6, but we'll go up to 9. All right, let's get into our major news. AVZ.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
There was a significant improvement in grades among students who wrote the secondary entrance assessment exam this year. Education Minister Dr. Diane Gansby-Dolly says the improvement in student performance was expected. The THA warned, listen to the people and address their concerns in order to build trust and confidence. Details in a moment. This is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Cintil Bob. Good morning. There was a significant improvement in grades among students who wrote the secondary entrance assessment exam this year. According to the Ministry of Education, of the 18,797 students, just over 11,000 passed the test, with almost 400 of those students scoring above 90%. That is a marked improvement on last year's results, which saw a 37.06% pass rate, as only 7,000 students out of 19,000 passed the exam. Meanwhile, only 2,500 students ranked below 30% compared to last year, when 5,300 students scored less than 30%. Education Minister Dr. Diane Gansby-Dolly, reflecting on the results, said the improvement in students' performance at SCA 2023 was expected. Minister Gansby-Dolly attributes this to the physical return of students to the classroom and the interventions of the ministry in addressing learning loss through the implementation of the remedial education program in 80 primary schools. This program includes initiatives such as the after-school support education program, assignment of dedicated school social workers, guidance officers, special education officers, and learning support assistants. Perpetrators will face justice. That is what will take place if it is found out, after investigations are done, that a 21-year-old Venezuelan woman's claims of being beaten and raped by Coast Guard personnel at the heliport in Chaguaramas in May this year are true. Minister of National Security Fitzgerald Hines made the disclosure during a news briefing held on Monday. Mr. Hines commented on a daily newspaper story carried yesterday, headlined, "Life After Heliport Hell, Venezuelan Migrant Woman in Safe House." The woman is in the safekeeping of the counter-trafficking unit. Minister Hines said the woman is given adequate security by police throughout the day.
In the detention center, she is a victim of human trafficking and she's in the care of the counter-trafficking unit. But because of the allegations and the horrific possibilities, if they are true, We put a system in place where there are regular police patrols, several times for the day. And the police has WhatsApp contact with the young lady through the Spanish-speaking police officers so that they can hear immediately of any threat or discomfort that the young lady faces or might face.
More people participation and honesty with people have been cited as governance styles, which the Farley Augustine-led Tobago House of Assembly must adopt moving forward. The assessment comes from economist Dr. Varnes James. Speaking during the afternoon Power Drive program on Power 102 Digital yesterday, Dr. James said getting feedback from the people on a regular basis is vital for the current administration. He warned that failure to adopt this approach can have serious consequences. The economist suggested the setting up of an advisory committee in the THA to have greater public interaction on a regular basis. Dr. Varnes said moving forward, Mr. Augustine must review the various developmental proposals he had put forward to him and apply them where applicable.
I mean, he went to the parliament and told the parliament, we're going to set up a development planning process in Tobago. We're going to ask Dr. James to lead it. I set out the terms and conditions minus budget, just what is required for the government to set up itself properly, to get the people involved and so on. And after that, that is evidence of the lack of courage to confront the nature of the society that we are dealing with and what is required for a place like Tobago to develop.
You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Staying with Tobago, the new Tobago House of Assembly Chief Administrator Denise Toby Quashie assumed duties this morning at the office of the Chief Administrator at Smithfield Plaza, Smithfield, Scarborough, Tobago. THA Chief Secretary Farley Augustine was present to welcome, or yesterday rather, he was present to welcome the new Chief Administrator and introduced her to the office of the Chief Secretary Staff located at Smithfield Plaza. On June 30th, 2023, the Office of the Prime Minister notified the THA that Mrs. Denise Toby Quashie would act as THA's Chief Administrator. Well, finally, let's see what's happening with weather news for the period today until midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, partly cloudy and windy with intervals of showers, especially during the morning and early afternoon. There's also a medium chance of isolated thunderstorm activity. Tonight will be mostly fair apart from the chance of the odd isolated shower. There is a yellow level weather alert that is presently in effect. Gusty winds and isolated flooding are likely in the event of heavy downpours and thunderstorms. Please note a significant increase in Sahara dust is expected this evening. Persons sensitive to this change in air quality are being advised to take the necessary precautions. Look out for a forecast, the maximum temperature this morning of 29 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 30 degrees Celsius at Crown Point, Tobago. It is currently 26 degrees Celsius at both localities. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock. A significant improvement in grades among students who wrote the secondary entrance assessment exam this year. Education Minister Dr. Nayan Gadsby-Dolly says the improvement in student performance was expected. And the THA has been warned to listen to the people and address their concerns in order to build trust and confidence. I'm Avril Sintil-Bab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for news in full coming up at 12 noon once again, and an update coming your way at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All righty. Thank you, Avril, for our major news. Of course, you can join Avril again at 8 o'clock for our news brief. All right. Quickly take a look what's happening on the highways and on the byways. Yeah, let's start on the east. Even before you get a Grandy police station, got some traffic. Slow going on the Valencia stretch. Slow going through Santa Rosa on the highway, but from Piarco towards Page, you've got traffic, and then from Valsain, Port of Spain, you got traffic. Eastern Main Road, yeah, as you head westbound, coming up to Arima Old Road, and then going to the usual spots, Tacarigua, Curep, heavier from Mount Hope heading towards San Juan and extension. Mova, not too bad. I don't say that often. Coming out of Maraval, all right? Not too bad. Taking a look at the Solo. San Fernando, nothing really to tell you about. You got some traffic pretty much from Claxton Bay heading towards Couva. Rivulet Road is heavy. But after that, it's clear sailing until you get to about the Canyon River, where you'll slow up as you head towards the interchange. All right, so that's a quick traffic update for you. Hope that helped you out in one way or the other. All right, guys, so we're back in. Yep.
Well, I'm back in.
Yeah. What name is that? Something XDMC.
So our poll this morning was, do you think Angus Eve should be replaced as head coach of the national senior football team? We had 17 people voting in the allotted time. Of the 17, 12 of you said yes, you do think he should be replaced as the head coach of the national senior football team, whereas 5 of you said no, you do not think it's necessary to replace him. Of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day through our programming, and we'll give you the final results tomorrow morning.
I want to make I hope it's not considered unkind to the players, because it's not intended to be unkind to the players. But, when you could put the best chef in the world in a kitchen, and if he doesn't have all the ingredients or the equipment to work at the level he's accustomed to, he's not going to produce the kind of meal you want. Right? So this is the Jumbie yesterday who robbed a woman. I want to play it plenty this morning so somebody could recognize this miscreant and report him to the police if they know him. And hopefully they will grab him. So I hope some one of you recognizes that miscreant who robbed the woman yesterday and are able to report him to the police so they could take him off the street. Please. Because he's a disgusting individual. You're literally walking around waiting for women to pass to rob them? Really? That's your work? That's your reason for existence? That's why you're eating breakfast or lunch?
And they can zoom up on that video, I'm thinking.
They
have the technology to do that.
I would hope so, the police, that is, At 7:30, we'll be having former UNC Minister Ramona Ramdial to weigh in on her thoughts on the machinations inside the UNC and also generally the political landscape in Trinidad and Tobago and what her thoughts are. She writes for one of the daily newspapers on a weekly basis. I do believe it is quite interesting writing. So we reached out to her and she acquiesced to join us this morning. I was also trying to get Julian Rogers, but he has such a busy schedule, that he couldn't agree this morning, but he will be with us before the end of the week to talk to us about CARICOM, because he's been in journalism for such a long time, has literally covered the evolution of CARICOM over the 50 years during his career. So he is in a really good position to let us know what he thought, how he thought CARICOM has gone over the years. I think CARICOM has had some successes like education in particular. UWI, St. Augustine, Cave Hill and Mona, CXC, CSEC, CAPE exams that have been standardized across the region. But I think there are some CSME. How do you think CSME is working, Richard?
It works on some level because you have categories of workers on the accredited levels being able to work across the Caribbean, but I think the process is not as, the process needs to be less bureaucratic in terms of, at least when I try to interface with it, as a cultural practitioner, I felt it was a little too bureaucratic.
When you went to try to take your production to Barbados?
Yeah.
Which I don't understand. I mean, to me, that's part of, because the Caribbean is so rich in cultural output, I would imagine that one of the facilities did make very seamless is transferring artists and productions and artisans across the region very, very seamlessly. You know, with permit issues, clearance issues. But I mean, it's so, from everybody I've heard, including yourself, it seems so onerous.
Yeah, it's bureaucratic. So you really it needs to be something that's much more easy. You know, like for example, if you look at the EU, which is our closest mirror to the CARICOM Union, would be the EU. But of course, the EU is much more advanced in terms of what they have accomplished, even though, of course, they have the EU, of course, it's a bigger space. It's European countries.
The more powerful countries.
Yeah, former colonizers, but even former colonizers who fought wars with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And historically. And yet they've been able to accomplish much more than the disparate islands of the Caribbean, who are more connected more than we are different in terms of our historical, presence here. And
well, as I said to an interviewer yesterday, one of the issues CARICOM faced 50 years ago when it was formed was that many of the islands were newly independent, just 9 and 8 and 10 years old independent, and trying to forge their own identities at that time, just having come out of colonial rule. And it was difficult for them to move past their insularities, to put aside some of their major differences also, while forging their own identities as very, very, very young independent nations to achieve the mandate of CARICOM or the vision of CARICOM at that time. But I think over the years, there have been so many missed opportunities because it shouldn't take us 50 years. And another issue is resources, because a lot of the time, Trinidad and Tobago, as one of the more prosperous islands in the archipelago, had to foot the bill for a lot of the championing, for a lot of the issues of the mandates and stuff like that, because of how blessed Trinidad and Tobago has been over the years. And had to really, it couldn't be every island put equally, because some islands just didn't have the economic capacity to put. So a lot of the economic funding went to Trinidad and Tobago. So I think now that we're celebrating 50 years of CARICOM and 45 years of heads of government coming together to talk about these issues, they should have a much higher benchmark and be able to achieve a lot more in a lot shorter time, I hope.
Well, one hopes.
Yeah.
I mean, by and large, I think Caribbean people see CARICOM as probably necessary, but don't think that it adds much value to their lives.
I agree with that. The average citizen.
Yeah.
The average citizen could be very apathetic.
The perception of CARICOM needs to change. And that can only change from leadership not only making decisions, because, they could talk. We know they could talk.
Oh, yes. They talk. They talk and they talk.
So
they love to talk.
So how do you action?
And making the lofty speeches, and people like to see tangible benefits in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is where, and I think we take the education for granted, but the education is a great accomplishment across the region. But sometimes you take for granted the impact of education on your life, because you think, well, it's a right and something you're born into and grow up with, so it's there. It's like mango in your backyard. You don't want to pay for mango. But you're right. Most people think, okay, CARICOM, we know the name. What have you done for us lately?
Yeah.
The phone lines are open. 222-TALK, 222-8255, 612-8255, 203 North Americans, 866-525-1099. A lot of discussion on the football issue in Trinidad Tobago. People have really strong opinions on it, and the cricket. One of the things that CARICOM is facing now is that crime issue. And if not arrested as a regional effort, we're going to have real problems in this region where we will continue to have an intensification of the real problems, because the problems are already here. Because the problems are now transnational in terms of the islands, and the criminals are moving from island to island and jurisdiction to jurisdiction, wreaking havoc and mixing with local criminals and literally getting away with murder hate to use the analogy, but and they have to find some regional way of dealing with it more effectively.
Yeah, we have a call. Good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
Morning.
Good morning, Dr. Paul, and good
morning.
Morning.
I will say, of course, Angasid is not the right fit for the coach. And because I have been looking at football, with him as coach, he needs some other thing to bring out more in any players. Now, the players are all not too much, Now, I mean, we don't have very great players. We have individual players, but we don't have them as a team most of the time. So that's one of his drawbacks. I mean, I can't fault him for that. It's not his fault that all the players are not there at the same time. But his level is not enough. And it is in that Jamaica, even St. Kitts game, when he beat St. Kitts 3-0, St. Kitts is not no big football. I don't think they're ranked in the top 200. And we just beat them 3-0, and the game wasn't that big set a game to say we've seen spark coming out from anybody. So Jamaica game was, to me, more disaster, and even though we lost 4-0, was more disaster than the US game. So I think he should be replaced. And I'm not one who will call for the replacement because we lose, We need some other supporter as somebody higher than him. But he could remain as some other in some other capacity, but not as a national coach. So you'll have a good day.
All right. Thank you so much. 222-8255, North Americans, 866-525-1099. It's the number directly into our studio.
But you said you read somewhere this morning that he said he would consider stepping down. Is that what the article said?
A version of that. And I think he had told the players that or something like that. I can't remember exactly verbatim, but it was some article. I can't remember if it was Luke TT or if it was I can't remember where I read it. It was one of those articles that just came across.
Well, clearly he can't be a politician. and I will say no more. He doesn't have the political acumen at all.
Good morning.
Yeah, morning again.
Yeah, Mr. Patrick.
Talking about the Caribbean Federation. How much years the Caribbean trying to unite by? How much years? We have songs like Take Your Meat Off the Rice, One from Zero, Zero from One, Leave One. What do you figure is the problem that we can unite as a Caribbean country, as a Caribbean bloc? The politicians, what do you figure is the problem?
Insularity.
For years, boy.
As and think about it. There are sometimes CARICOM has made great strides, but it always depends on if particular leaders' personalities get along with particular leaders' personality. Because in each island, you have elections. So while it may be working well with this configuration, all it needs is 1 or 2 elections and leaders change, and the whole thing turn over.
Sometimes you just hear talk, but this country don't like that country, and that country envy this one and that one, and
insularity.
They try to form a federation. The partners sing it. How come we can't form a federation, Mr. Black Stallion? And I was how long?
Something them Rastas do that them politicians can't do because it's one place.
How they can?
Take the same trip.
So we bring a big man, we bring a man from America, right? To come and tell me for federation, for Caribbean unity. How is so?
I don't know what man you're talking about exactly.
This secretary they bring recently, I listened to him on a talk on the radio yesterday, the TV day.
Are you referring to the Secretary General of the United Nations?
Right. So he had to come to the Caribbean to tell Caribbean people how to unite.
He didn't tell them how to
unite. That is not why he came to Mr. Patrick.
I know. But Caribbean people, like how Europe Drop from the own block, Asia, from the own block, the African continent, them are the own block. What to the Caribbean? We want to divide and rule. Look, even right next door, Tobago, want to separate themselves from Trinidad. So then, what's going on? We have a serious issue here, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it just depends on what you want to mirror. I mean, is what you want to mirror. No, the closest, as I said, as a mirror to us is probably the EU, in terms of where you can work across borders. You can treat borders as a domestic space by and large, and of course, the completely federated system, a federated system or federal system, of course, is the United States, which is a federal system. But that's heavily integrated from even a political perspective, judicial perspective. So that's very integrated. The EU, of course, is not like that, but it's an attempt to get to some sort of one space. And the Caribbean via CARICOM was an attempt to get to that one space. But you have the insularities, as Paul indicated previously. Jamaica, of course, for example, would be insular on a certain level because it thinks it's the best Caribbean country. It thinks it has the best music and the most internationally recognized music. They have the best sportsmen in terms of athletics that can hold its own and conquer the planet. So Jamaicans don't lack for confidence that they had anyway, even if they didn't have all of that. Yeah. And so they see themselves as not necessarily needing CARICOM on a certain fundamental level, which is why the Federation broke apart. Jamaica was the one that pulled out and basically said, we don't need this. Yeah. Then you would have the Bahamas that kind of always sees itself in a kind of dual, at least this is my perspective, let me say. The Bahamas always sees itself in a kind of duality, like that they're closer to the United States in many ways. They almost like the 51st state. Sorry, Puerto Rico.
Because they know they have more benefits to get from doing that.
Yeah, and the tourism element coming from the United States because they're so close makes them more interconnected economically to that state. Barbados will have its own color of how it sees itself in the CARICOM space, as would St. Lucia would have its own vision of how it sees itself. Trinidad and Tobago certainly has its own vision of how it sees itself.
All right, gentlemen, we have some calls coming through. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
This is just my personal opinion on the sports situation. I think Trinidad and Tobago need to refocus and look at where we're doing good in sports. I don't believe that stars are born. They are not made. Just because of our population sizes, if you look across the world, you don't see small countries doing well in team sports. In Trinidad and Tobago, throughout the years, we have always excelled in individual sports because the probability of finding one good player, one good athlete is greater than finding 11 out of a population of 1.2, 1.4, Jamaica, 3 million. Look at all the good countries in the world. In football, they're coming out of 200 and something million people, 50 something million people. That is where you could get a full team. We are not doing good in team sports in Trinidad and Tobago throughout the years because we just do not have the population sizes. The last time a small country did well in football was Iceland, right? And that was just one ever. So we have been excelling in track and field, individual sport. Cycling, individual sport. Swimming, individual sport. We are not going to do well, and I think the government needs to refocus the resources and show that we can do well in other sports. So if we imagine, for example, the initiative with the swimming pool in Laventille, what we need is a bigger pool of individuals to get into the sporting arena. We cannot and will not do well in team sports coming out of a small island nation. That's just my position.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, thank you.
Let's ask our guest. Good morning, Ramona Randiel. I think you're muted still. I think you're still muted.
There you go. Morning.
Morning, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm battling a flu here, but I'm all right.
Your volume is a little low. Would you be able to increase the mic level?
Let's see.
And I could get 2 Panadol.
And what do you have for migraines across there?
So
Excedrin, green, all kind of thing. I think I have the mic is fully on.
All right, well, we work with it. Yeah, we hear you a little better now. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
All right. We were talking about CARICOM. Of course, the community is celebrating 50 years, and they have the big conference in Port of Spain. And we were distilling what we thought the accomplishments were, and if you think CARICOM has fulfilled its mandate.
CARICOM, I would say, has done a pretty good job so far. I mean, we've had our challenges as a region over the, if you look at the history, we've had a history and we've had challenges. But I think what Dr. Rowley and the other regional leaders are trying to do is to forge a stronger bond within the region. I think they've done a good job with Mia Motley, Dr. Rowley, and the other regional leaders, Irfan Ali, coming together really as 3 powerhouses to forge that stronger bond to move forward into the international circle in terms of lobbying for resources for various things. So I think that they've done a pretty good job so far, and I look forward to see what are the results of the summit.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for joining us. Of course, we want to keep it localized and politics. Is it Couva North or Couva South?
Couva North.
Couva North, former Couva North MP, very prolific columnist in the newspapers and very opinionated. What do you think of these movements of some people in the last 3 or so weeks, 4 weeks, in the lead up to the local government election from the UNC to the PNM? What do you think is the reason for that?
The cause of the effects.
So we're in full campaign mode, as you can see. Over my 10 years as an MP, a minister, and then an opposition MP, I learned quite a few things. And one of the things that is needed within our politics, especially where the opposition forces are concerned, is unity. The history behind the PNM is that they've always been able to hold their base. They've always been able to go alone at it, to fight alone, and to win alone. The history of the UNC and other opposing forces have always been over the years that they need partnerships, coalitions, and we would have seen that in 1986 and 1995 and then in 2010. So putting that aside, in my articles, I've always called for unity amongst the opposing forces. For this local government elections, I think this is an experiment that is happening. We have numerous alliances. We have the alliances with the Reunited Farmers and PEP. We have an alliance with the NTA, with Gary Griffith and the United National Congress. However, with that alliance with the NTA and the UNC, I'm a little bit confused because in the sharing of the seats, in the arrangement, NTA has 31 seats, the United National Congress has 110 seats. And within those 31 seats, you also have UNC in those various regions also contesting the elections. So where you have NTA fighting, you also have UNC, and Dr. Hamid Ghani referred to the challenges that would pose in getting the alderman thereafter within the regional corporations. So it would have been better if the coalition or the accommodation could have been by corporations rather than by seats. Because when now you have to apply the formula for aldermen, it would be separate numbers of votes as opposed to if you had either UNC or NTA, you would have a greater majority of votes to work with there. So that is quite confusing and baffling to me, because I think the leaders of both parties should have known this. So it begs the question that what is the intention at the end of the day? What is the intention with respect to that alliance?
But do you think the move, because the UNC had been successful in 2010 with a coalition, is it a philosophical position of the party that, well, you know what, we want, because people talk about coalition as if it's a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It can be very productive for a space. It can open the door for collaboration and not insular thinking or one perspective on particular issues and how to govern a country. So a coalition can be a good thing. Sometimes it's been fed to us as, oh my God, it's a desperation move. Do you think it is driven by a philosophy of coalition or fear that, well, if I don't join, I'm not strong enough to win? Because to me, the UNC has been able to do quite well in local government elections in the past on their own.
Yeah. I think I know it's a philosophy of the UNC ever since Bastille Pandey days. There have been coalitions, there have been open doors to leaders from various parties and from various stakeholders. So I think it's a philosophy of the party. But of lately, between 2015 and 2020, Mrs. Prasad Bisesa took a different approach where she said, well, we'll go at it alone and we'll win or lose alone. That has been her approach since 2015, which in my personal opinion, I think it was a bad decision. So, albeit, now you're hearing a different story from Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, and it has shown in the local government elections where she, in fact, has accommodated the NTA and has been calling other parties. And I think the NNB with Garvin Nicholas is also there. And she's been calling other parties to work. And she's also mentioned that moving forward to the general elections, that she wants unity with other parties also. So that has changed completely. Her approach has changed completely. So, which is that's a good approach. You need unity, but I mean, you know, my personal opinion, I think with respect to the UNC, we need new leadership. To me, whatever unity is there, the problem is still with the leader and the leadership of the UNC. That needs to be changed.
So you don't think that another accommodation with other parties, and particularly NTA, because I think the NTA is the best known of the group, because, of course, the personality of its leader. Well, both of them have colorful leader personalities. But certainly, I mean, I suppose a lot of people, maybe because of Gary's track record as Commissioner of Police, he probably brings some level of voter maybe in that corner because they know he is capable of doing stuff or getting stuff done. And so do you think that accommodation by the UNC under the stewardship of the current leadership is a good thing in the sense that you think it's going to yield success?
It's left to be seen. Gary has a track record. He has been an excellent Commissioner of Police. He's been responsive as Member of Parliament. I've had a very good working relationship with him with respect to serving constituents and all of that. And I wish him well. But I would be partial to staying in my corner and saying that the issue is not with Gary or the NTA, but with the UNC leadership. And I think in this elections, regardless, the UNC is poised to lose some more seats, more than what they would have.
Where is that coming from? Where are you getting that assessment from?
Well, on the ground, the disenchantment within the membership in the central area, you're seeing people, you're hearing people talking about it. They're saying that, you know, they're fed up of both PNM and UNC. They want to give a new party a chance. And then you're hearing some saying, well, we're fed up with the leadership of our party, meaning the UNC, and that they just won't go out and vote, you know, until something gives in terms of change within the leadership. So we're hearing all of that within the base of the United National Congress. You have had defections. You have had major defections. The latest defection being that of Azim Basarath and another strategist from the Moruga Tableland seat. They moved across to the PNM. Then you had Marcus Girdari, who was a sitting councillor in San Fernando, who has moved across. You've had the UNC UTAM chair with this big scandal with the check and everything recently, who has also moved across to the PNM. So you've had a lot of defections and a lot of people who are disenchanted and just quietly staying away because of how they feel at this point in time. I think we're going to have a very...
Do you think those defections, because they are clear defections that have taken place, and it's the most defections I've ever seen taken place from the UNC. I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong. But do you think it indicates a possible beginning of a power shift at the leadership level of the UNC, in that, because politics is a very aggressive environment, it's almost like law of the jungle in a certain way. So that if you see whoever is the alpha, and I'm using the word alpha very liberally here, whoever is the alpha is under attack and in a weakened state, whoever believes that they can become the new alpha is starting to slowly circle the bandwagon, so to speak. Would that be something that's occurring in the hierarchy of the party?
Let me ask you a different way. Is this election a watershed moment for Mrs. Pasabi Sessa's leadership moving forward?
Definitely. That's it. I think I know if she loses this election, there's going to be a move for new leadership within the party. There's going to be a serious move within the party.
What would constitute losing this election? Because it's kind of half now. What do you think would be a significant enough loss if that happens to start that kind of movement to oust? Or what would be a significant win to solidify her position as leader?
Well, it's 7-7 now. So 8-6, yeah.
Loss of one corporation, one body.
Yes.
Would indicate that, well, we have problems because there have been two major national election losses.
The loss of one corporation or the loss of more seats as compared to 2019. I don't know that figure offhand in terms of the number of seats that UNC won, but the loss of more seats will definitely stir the membership. The loss of a corporation, the loss of more seats.
Well, this is after speculation along the same line, but who do you think would be the successor if that were to happen?
I can't say because NATEX elections is due next year, and then a leadership elections is due in 2025. The leadership has had a history of doing two elections together, the NATEX and the leadership election. So that may be a possibility next year where you have two elections in one. If the UNC loses the local government elections, the membership may call for internal elections thereafter. So it's left to be seen, but we have a democratic process. From now, I've started saying, if it is that we are to go the way of the internal elections, I'm calling for external observers for that internal elections.
And conversely, if the PNM loses ground, do you think it will have any effect on Dr. Rowley's position as leader?
Yes, I think it will also. Because they say the local government elections is usually an indicator to the general how well you're going to do at the general elections, or how badly you're going to do at the general elections. So both parties are up, under scrutiny. Both parties, their leadership on either side, it's been looked at very closely. And if the PNM loses, there would be calls for new leadership within the rank and file, I'm sure.
You've been hearing the campaigns, and I mean, local is completely different in many ways to a general election. And even in a general election, people beg to hear about the issues. What are you going to do about crime? How are you going to diversify and fix the economy, make it more sustainable and more stable? Are there any issues? I know representation is a big thing in local government election, but are there any issues that you think should be on the forefront in this election in terms of connecting or resonating with the population, the Burgesses, that you are not hearing or that you are hearing?
Well, from the PNM, we're hearing about local government reform, that if they win and you support them, we would get local government reform, which would mean the collection of property taxes to generate revenue for local government. That's what we're hearing.
But even if the PNM doesn't win, that's still law, so it's going to happen anyway.
It's going to happen anyway, correct. But how it's collected, I mean, they are in government, so right now how it's collected, it's going to go to the consolidated fund in one fund, and then it is going to be disbursed accordingly by the Ministry of Finance. The UNC had a slightly different plan where those monies would have been collected directly through the corporation and used within the regions. So that is the difference there. But what the UNC is campaigning and saying is that don't bother about the UNC. I mean, the PNM is that they're misleading you. There's going to be no local government reform. So I don't think people on the ground want to hear that kind of negative campaigning. I think people are very worried about the basic infrastructure, the deterioration of the basic infrastructure, the roadworks, the riverworks. Perennial flooding is an issue every year. Every time rain falls, it floods. And I don't think you've really heard any sort of concrete plans to deal with the upgrading of basic infrastructure, to deal with flooding, to deal with climate change, and to deal with all the other issues that are affecting us as a citizenry right now. Crime is also high on the agenda, but usually for local government, you tend to focus more on basic infrastructure, on flooding, on roadworks, on those things that affect your Burgesses directly in terms of those sorts of things.
But even with crime, and you have written extensively about crime in the area you once represented, because of course you're still connected to the area, even though you're not MP, you're very strong advocacy about interventions about the criminal element because it has increased in almost every part of the country. Do you see progress in that regard?
Do I see what?
Progress in terms of the calls you've made for more police patrols, more police intervention in the area that you once represented. Are you seeing improvements at all?
You would have pockets that would say, the mobile policing is really poor. A lot of neighborhoods now have gone into the neighborhood watch. They've gone to, vigilante groups. So they're making an effort. People are making an effort on their part more than the authorities. When you speak to the authorities,
I don't want just to say a vigilante group is something we want to encourage because you said it so casually.
Yeah. Okay. No, we're not encouraging it, but there are watch groups. There are people who are they're proactive neighborhoods now, more proactive than they used to be. And when you call the authorities, they will tell you, well, we don't have the vehicles, we don't have the manpower at this time in the night. That kind of thing. So I still think there's a long way to go with respect to the government channeling resources to the TTPS and the other protective services. So people are still very disenchanted. I think they don't have the confidence in the TTPS to protect them. So it's a work in progress. I don't know what more the government has in plan to upgrade and to help what is going on. We haven't heard them say anything really specific with this crime.
And in terms of, because I know you're still connected to the ground, do you think there is an issue with poverty, a rise in poverty? Because the pandemic was very tough for the country, the world, the region. People lost a lot of jobs. I am personally seeing more people begging on the streets. I am hearing of situations where you're seeing longer lines and people go to give out food and younger people asking for handouts in many areas, not only central, south. To me, it's astounding the amount of need I see on a daily basis moving around. Is that your experience also?
Definitely. I mean, I'm in business now, and I can also tell you that the business sector has slowed down. It's not what it used to be. And yes, you're right. There are a lot of people who are asking for food cards. They ask for hampers. They ask for work. You know, there's only so much we can do. So yes, you're right, Paul. I agree with you. There's increasing poverty. You have joblessness. You have a lot of underdeveloped youths, undeveloped. There are persons also, the young professional with qualifications who can't get jobs also. You have to look at that. So, yeah, you have all those factors, those social factors that also influence crime and also increase crime.
What's your relationship now with the UNC?
I'm part of that group that is advocating for new leadership. But basically, I'm on speaking terms with most of my colleagues.
Do you have a preference for the new leader?
Sorry?
Do you have a preference for whom you see as a good leader for the UNC?
I'd rather not say. I guess I will stick to the democratic process because there are lots of worthy persons who are interested.
Well, give us three now who you think could give us three now if you don't want to narrow it down to one. Give us three people who you think have the potential.
I think Vasan Bharat is good. There is Jerlene John. There is Rudal Munilal. You know, there's Rushton Pare. You know, those persons. So the membership has to decide eventually who they will want. There's Dr. Fuad Khan. All of these guys, you know, have been interested, have shown interest in the past, and I think they'd make good leaders.
The question that has arisen in the past with your and others' advocacy for new leadership is that, well, you weren't chosen to return. How do you respond to that?
That is untrue. That's not true. I still remain a member of the UNC. I have not defected. I am a member of the UNC. I'm a life member of the UNC. I want to see my party win. Whether I'm in office or out of office, I'm still a member of the party, and therefore I have a voice and I have a right in order to say, well, look, my party has been losing since 2012. We need new leadership now to win. We need change, and that is what I think I will continue to advocate for.
How do you rank or rate the performance of the opposition? Because in our construct, the opposition is very, very important in keeping the government checked and balanced.
It has been described, this current opposition has been described as the weakest opposition ever. And we see it in the parliament, we see it with the contributions from the parliamentarians, we see the action and the non-functioning of the various party arms on the ground, the women's arm, the youth arm, the party groups within the constituency. They're very weak. I saw that they've tried over the years to have national protests and failed at national protests. They failed to unite the stakeholders and the opposing forces against the government. Therefore, it's very telling that the leadership at this point in time is very weak.
Do you think, do you have a relationship with Mrs. Pasabi-Sesser at all, or do you think a welcoming back of the persons who some may suggest had been sidelined would make a difference in terms of a different kind of engagement? Yourself, Vasan Bharat, Dr. Khan, you know, people who've had experience in parliament and in the party for many years.
We have offered unity after the vote in election 2020 and 2020 offered to come in to rebuild the party. And ignored the concourse by it's just fake. It's a pretense. It's not real. So all of the sideline members could make a difference, but we have not been engaged. And I think they like that. You divide and conquer, and you stay as leader. You know, you contract the party, you constrict growth, and you stay as leader. So I think that is how they want it. I don't have a relationship with Mr. Pasabi-Sesser since but this is personal for the growth of the party. Get it back on. That is what it's about.
You're breaking up a bit. And what if Mr. Pandey? Do you think Mr. Pandey could make a difference? Because he's such a charismatic person.
He can, he has over the years given a lot of advice freely, publicly, both the PNM and the UNC. He has always been advocating for constitutional reform, which we need constitutional reform. And I think he can be that guiding hand if he's welcome back into the UNC. He can be a guiding light and a guiding hand with respect to rebuilding the UNC.
Can I change gears totally? Because you're a seasoned politician. And what if Tobago and the stewardship of Mr. Augustine vis-a-vis the controversial audio tape and his explanation? What are your thoughts on that?
I can say about Tobago at this point in time, Paul, it's that things are going to get worse before it gets better. I am a strong for Tobago, internal self-government for Tobago. I sat on the committee that pulled the bill together through the parliament. That bill is the best version of internal self-government you will get for Tobago. I urge everyone to go and read that document. What we are seeing now with the contention between central government and the THA is something that is not going to go away anytime soon. Farley has his plan. Chief Secretary of the THA, Dr. Rowley has his plan as leader of the PNM and as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Those plans are not meshing together, as you can clearly see. And therefore, only with internal self-government, we can get some form of structure and further progress and development for Tobago. I don't think it's going to get better.
Ramona, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you all so much.
Well, I know where to come and get my prescriptions filled now.
You know where? Definitely.
Congratulations, by the way. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. So,
all right. All the best.
Couva North, is Couva North or South? She said Couva North MP. Ramona Rambiel weighing in on the machinations of the political scene in Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, she spoke a bit about CARICOM also. Quite interesting. I always like to read her columns in the newspaper. And of course, she's now a pharmacist, it seems. So congratulations to her on that. All right, we're rolling up to 8 o'clock now, as you may have known, starting yesterday. But we are now going to wrap up the show. And wish you a wonderful day. Don't forget tomorrow.
Happy Independence to all family and friends in the United States. It's July 4th, which is a holiday for you all, not for us. So happy Independence to all of our listeners in the United States, and particularly to family and friends. Have a fantastic holiday today and enjoy the fireworks tonight, I'm sure, and whatever you're doing, barbecuing, whatever, barbecuing is a big deal on July 4th. So
family time.
Have a great one. And of course, to our listeners, wherever you are in other parts of the planet, including Trinidad and Tobago, have a fantastic day. And remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health.
And don't forget, tomorrow we do the first of 3 debates with Gary Griffith of the NTA, David Abdullah of the MSJ, Felicia Holder of PEP, and Timothy Hammond-Smith of Hope Party, talking about various issues tomorrow, trying to bring a different kind of engagement in the lead up to local government elections, certainly beyond heading to 2025. So that's 7 to 9 tomorrow. Have a great day, you all. Be safe.
All right, gentlemen, do have a great one. And as you said, Paul, be safe in all that you do. All right.